Does the thought of failure just make you cringe to the point that you hesitate when it's time to do something big or important? Fear of failure is a real thing. People who suffer from fear of failure have a tendency to procrastinate and freeze under pressure, which keeps them from moving forward with life's goals. In today's Avoid Self Sabotage series, we'll uncover how to overcome fear of failure so you can start winning in life. Let's get to it. So in case you haven't gotten it already, here's the book, Avoiding the Self Sabotage Trap. You can find it at www.avoidselfsabotage.com, or you can look in the description and the link will be there ready for you to click. But let's move forward. First of all, I want to say welcome to Affirming Power podcast. I'm Crystal Benford. I am a multi-business owner. I am the author of Avoiding the Self Sabotage Trap, book and ebook. I also am a singer and songwriter, and I am always and forever will be a mindset advocate. So without further ado, let's get into this. But first, don't forget to hit the subscribe button. Make sure you like this and share this. And then anytime during this broadcast, you can leave a comment because I want to know what you think. So let's get into it. So fear of failure, that is actually, we're on chapter 3. If you have not caught up with the series, then I would say go somewhere here. It might pop up. You could click that link and get the whole series on this Avoid Self Sabotage series. Okay, if you want to dive into the 10 different traits of self sabotage that most people suffer with. So we are in chapter 3, fear of failure, and we are going to just dive into it. And I'm going to read you a quote first because I always like to read a quote first to kind of get you warmed up for what we're going to talk about in the chapter. So the quote is, "That very moment affected my perception of everything else that happened in the next 2 to 3 decades of my life." Ooh, so you want to know, want to know what I'm talking about, right? Okay, good. Well, let's get into it. Also, you're going to learn how to discover the signs of fear of failure, just in case you're not sure if this is something that you have been challenging with. And then we'll also discover the fixes, how to unravel these types of behaviors with fear of failure. So fear of failure, that really hit home for me. I clearly remember being the fastest runner in my elementary school. No boy or girl could beat me, and my speed was undeniable. Yes, it was. This is my story, and I'm telling the truth. Okay? One day, a boy named London transferred to our school. 2 weeks later, it was track and field day. I knew I had it in the bag because I always did. Okay? I always had it in the bag. Okay? I beat the boys and the girls. Okay, now I added that. The finish line was in my view, and the adrenaline was rushing through my veins. My heart was beating a mile a minute as all my teachers, peers, and family members cheered on the sidelines, ready to see me smash the competition. Let's go. My opponents and I all readied ourselves at the starting line as we waited for the gun to go off. Bang! We were off. I ran as fast as I could. No one was next to me or in front of me. Okay? When I was almost to the finish line, I saw something in my peripheral view. It was London, the new guy. He was gaining on me. I remember that day like it was yesterday. We both ran like our lives depended on it. We finally crossed the finish line. London won by a foot because his foot literally crossed over the line right before mine. I was devastated. I will not forget because I really was. I was devastated, okay? Now, I can laugh about it now, but I wasn't laughing then. No, I was not. Here's what that little girl, me, Here's what that little girl didn't realize back then. How I felt in that very moment affected my perception of everything else that happened in the next 2 to 3 decades. No one taught me that failure is inevitable for success at the time. From that moment on, I always had a subconscious fear of failure that made me shrink anytime there was some type of competition, whether for fun or not. I stopped running after that. I sure did. I know that's so crazy, ridiculous, but I did. The sting of failure didn't stop there. Look at how failure bleeds into other areas. Instead, it continued to seep out like some type of toxin that kept me from taking leaps. Knowing the signs will stop you from losing and help you start winning. So you have to know the signs. Knowing the signs, I'm going to read it again. Knowing the signs will stop you from losing and help you to start winning. So let's unpack this, okay? Let's unpack this. So when I was talking about myself, I was a little girl at the time. And you see how something so really insignificant, it wasn't like I was running for the Olympics, okay? Something so insignificant affected me moving forward and how I viewed whether it was a competition or how I viewed anything that I had to come up against where I felt like it was going to be either a win or lose situation. So in that, because I did not deal with it at the time, there was nobody to teach me that, girl, you lost to a boy, who cares? I mean, that's good that you beat everybody else, you know what I mean? And he only won by a foot, nobody was there to tell me that, hey, failure is okay. Keep running, keep going, keep doing this. So because of that, it created a stigma in my mindset. And think about what thing happened to you in either in your youth or a year ago or a few years ago that kept you from running the race, running the course in life, not just track and field, but running a race that you need to finish in order to become everything that God has called you to do. What is that one thing? What is that one thing? And it might be multiple things. For me, it was this race that started and it trickled along the way. I was not used to losing. Somebody should have pulled me along and said, hey, you lost. Okay, loss is inevitable. Everybody goes through it. Pick yourself back up and I want to see you again next year and we're going to work with you. You're going to keep on running. Didn't have that. So I'm here to encourage you that, look, no matter what the failure, you have to keep running. No matter what the setback, you have to keep running. But just in case you feel like this is not a challenge that you might have, or you're not sure if fear of failure is a challenge that you may have, let's talk about some of the signs, okay? So the number one sign is current situations resemble old failures and you don't pursue what's new. That is so easy to happen. So what happens is our minds create these like our subconscious, and I'm not going to go all into detail in this particular episode, but we have our subconscious and we have our conscious mind. We also have a super subconscious, but we're just going to talk about the two. Our subconscious holds all memories, good and bad. So whatever strong emotion was attached to memory, whether it was good or bad, our subconscious holds that and knows it as true. Okay. So then sometimes along the way, because of those memories that are held in our subconscious, can create certain subconscious triggers. So there's some things that you may go through, you might think after you've gone through it or after you maybe went off on somebody or whatever, why did I have to react like that? Why was my reaction like that? Why did I say that? Like looking back, it wasn't even that serious because that means something was triggered from something that you experienced a while ago because it resembled what you had gone through years ago, months ago, whenever in your childhood, right? So it creates these triggers. So sometimes we don't even know that we're reacting a certain way because our subconscious knows this is what happened then, and this looks familiar, and this is how we responded, and then it comes out through our emotions. So current situations resemble old failures and you don't pursue what's new. So then you don't pursue it. If it feels like a failure, if it looks or resembles anything similar to a failure you had before, guess what? You're not going to want to deal with it. You're going to want to run away from it. And it brings up that fear of failure. Another sign is you continue to see possible failures in new opportunities. Okay, so if something is new, and then we can go back to some of the other chapters that we've talked about already, like procrastination or self-doubt. You know what I mean? If you think about something that's new, a new opportunity, sometimes we shy away from it because everybody might be hyping you up. Oh, you got this. You can do this. But then you have that fear for, well, what if I fail? Then I'm not only going to embarrass myself, I'm going to embarrass the people that's been vouching for me or whatever the case is. And so that comes from fear of failure. You see that possible opportunity as a setup for you to fail. We can't look at it like that. Another sign is you think you can't come back from or overcome certain failures. So think about the failures that you've already had, and just thinking about it stings, right? Like me, I'm laughing at this because it don't sting for me no more. You know what I mean? It's over and done with. You know what I mean? But think about, is there a failure that you've experienced that is really making you, it just stings just thinking about it and make you want to close your eyes and disappear and do the genie? Okay. What is that thing? If you're experiencing that where you think of past failures and you can't laugh about it, it's not funny yet. You know, you still feeling like, you know, it's still there. This means that you are being challenged with dealing with fear of failure. Also, another sign is you would rather not pursue anything new because it might not work. So then you sabotage any new opportunity that you're more than equipped or qualified for. You sabotage it and you don't move forward with it. And so what happens? That fear of failure begins to bubble up, and then you freeze. You get to a place where you freeze in the moment. Like what I mentioned earlier on when I was starting the video or starting this episode. Another sign is you retreat from new ventures that present themselves. So again, it's kind of similar to the last one. Instead of you might be in the midst of it, but then that fear of failure comes up, like, you're doing this, but what if you don't make it? Or what if you don't do as good as you did? And your boss, he or she put their neck out for you. And then what if you fail? You know, or this person put their neck out for you to get the job or to get the opportunity. And what if you fail? What if you're not as good as what you think you are? Self-doubt starts creeping up right alongside that fear of failure. And so with that fear of failure, when it bubbles up like that, it makes you halt. It makes you freeze in the midst of adversity, but not just adversity, in the midst of opportunity. And then when we freeze, that means there's no action taking place with us moving forward in what it is that we need to do. Okay, so let's talk about how to unravel this stuff. Okay, let's unravel fear of failure. So, honey, we are moving into the year, into the day, into the week, into the month, being a success in every area of our lives. Success does not always mean money, by the way, but being successful in every area of our lives. Okay, so let's talk about the fixes. So the fix, number one for fear of failure, is understand that failure is on the road to success. Failure is on the road to success. Like I said earlier, failure is inevitable, but failure is not something that we should look at as a negative thing, even though it does sting, it does hurt. Trust me, I know. Okay, it does. But fear of failure, we need to look at it as something to learn from. How has this failure made me better? How has it made me thrive? What have I learned from the failure? This is what we need to understand. We need to turn it around and understand that failure is inevitable on the road to success. And failure shapes you and makes you better for the success when it comes. Fix number 2, understand that failure is an opportunity to learn and grow, not give up. Didn't I just say that? Learn and grow and not give up. Yes, failure, it should be working for us, not against us, but it makes us feel like crap. But instead of feeling like crap, we need to know that it's something to learn from, to better ourselves around. Fix number 3, understand that failure is inevitable. You can't avoid it, but you can use it to your benefit. That's how we're using it to our benefit. We are learning from it. We're seeing how it shaped us into better human beings for where we are right now. We're able to help somebody else that will go through the same failure and let them know, hey, I overcame it. You can too. That's how we should start looking at failure, not necessarily as a negative thing. Fix number 4, forgive yourself and others for past failures. So whether those past failures were your own doing because of bad decisions or you doing things the wrong way, or whether it was because of somebody else who set you up and they sabotaged you and it caused you to take on the failure, you have to forgive it. Forgive yourself, forgive them, and let it go, because it's only holding you back, whether it was because of someone else or not. It's only holding you back, and you have to let these things go. Okay, fix number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Build a mindset. Y'all know I'm a mindset advocate, okay? But build a mindset that sees failure as a healthy part of life. Failure is a healthy part of life. We have to even train our kids, little bitty, that failure is a healthy part of life. Everybody fails sometime or another in their lives. Everybody does. And I would like to know what you all think about this. Now everybody gets an award, especially little kids. Everybody get an award because we don't want anybody to feel bad. Even if they're on the losing side or even if they lost, we want them to get an award. Do you agree with that? Why are you getting an award? You didn't win. You need to feel that failure is failure. I mean, failure is failure. That's real talk. That's reality. But we can train them how to look at failure and view failure as something that's healthy, not necessarily something that demonifies us, or that makes us seem like we're less than. No, failure is failure, but we don't have to fear failure. We can look at failure and use it to our advantage, and that's how we need to treat our kids. So you didn't win this one. You're going to lose some. You're going to win some, sugar. So now, no, you don't get the ribbon. You don't get the award, not this time, but I bet you're going to work harder because you're going to get it next time. And then it changes them into being something else and having a work ethic that they wouldn't normally have if everybody gets the award. Can you imagine? I would like to know. Leave it in the comments what you think about that part. Okay, finally, the last fix, because I went on a tangent, is just like anything, the sting of failure will always come to an end. Failure does not last always. I sound like I'm saying something out of Color Purple, right? But failure doesn't last always. It happens and then it's done. It's up to us to either take it with us and let it be a stigma on us, on our mindsets, on everything that we do subconsciously or consciously, or we can wear that failure as a badge and say, but look at where I am now because of this failure. Because if I didn't learn from that failure, I would not be this amazing person today who is now here to be able to help others and walk out my gifts and my calling. What about that? Okay, so change your mindset when it comes to failure, honey. Don't have fear of failure. Look at it. The business didn't work out, start another one. People do it all the time. The marriage didn't work out, you can marry again. People do it all the time. You know what I mean? Your kids didn't come out the way you expected them to come out as adults. Pray about it, sugar. I don't know what to tell you with that one. Mine is still young. But I'm saying, don't fear failure. Don't fear failure. Don't let that keep you from doing what it is you've been purposed to do. Step out there and live life boldly, unapologetically, and wear fear as not fear, scratch that, wear failure as a badge of honor that you overcame something powerful and now you are more amazing than you were then when you experienced the failure. All right, so think about failure definitely when you're moving forward. As always, I want to hear from you all. If you want to get the book so you can follow along, Avoiding the Self Sabotage Trap, then you can get it in the link in the description and follow along with us. And don't forget, you can always look at the episodes. I think it's going to probably be over here. Look at the other episodes in the series. And thank you again for joining me on Affirming Power podcast. I'm Crystal Benford, and I can't wait to see you next time. Don't forget to share, subscribe, follow, and like. Talk to you soon. Bye.